Hello everybody and welcome to the Player One Sim Gear Super Formula Lights Championship here, organised by the Formula Drivers League. It's Super Formula Lights action here at Suzuka in the first round of the championship, and the first time that the FDL series has been featured on the JP Broadcasting YouTube channel. My name is Ewan, alongside James Parfitt here for this opening round of the season. We'll be with you through the next 8 weeks, every Tuesday, as we go all the way to the end of the season at Zandvoort on the 11th of March. Good to be here, James, for a Super Formula Lights League. It's a league, of course, in case you don't know, based mainly in the oceanic region of the world. We do have one outlier, I've noticed, in the field. We do have one Brazilian in the field as well, but other than that, it is out in that part of the world. So they're racing in the evening while we're here broadcasting in the morning. But good to be here and looking forward to the opening round of what should be an exciting season.
Yeah, it should be really good. We've got some interesting races coming up this season as well. You know, we kick off here at Suzuka. We travel to the Red Bull Ring next time out, and then Portimao on the 4th of February. Off to Canada for the 11th of February. Spa on the 18th. Monza, Kota, and then finish off to Zandvoort on the 11th of March. It's going to be very, very exciting indeed. I'm quite looking forward to this one. I think this could be an absolute epic barnstormer. We've got a 45-minute race. So guys have gone into qualifying, 15 minutes of qualifying to go, but a 45-minute race and the possibility of safety cars.
Absolutely. That is going to be triggered if race control feel the need to do so. The conditions are that there's a car blocking the circuit that can't be moved for whatever reason. Not sure that's quite going to be a problem here, but you never know, I suppose. And the other condition being 3 or more cars involved in an accident with at least 2 requesting a tow. Now that is more likely at any of the circuits actually that we've got going on this season. So we'll look out for that over the course of the season, and we've got our own safety cars ready and raring to go if indeed they are required over the course of the 45 minutes. One other thing that's very noticeable as well is you're seeing this camera shot down in towards turn 1. It's open qualifying here for the 15 minutes. It's pretty busy out on the circuit, I've got to say, as well. And I suppose that's not really a surprise, but you need to try and find some track space somehow. And with the amount of drivers we've got on the field, it's not going to be easy to do that, although it's going to be harder, I suppose, at circuits like the Red Bull Ring and especially Zandvoort later on in the season.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have some quite tight circuits coming up, so they are going to have to try and find gaps. Obviously, there is going to be a little bit of tow when you've got sort of 30+ drivers on the racetrack at the same time. You know, it's inevitable, like it is now on your screen that you can see there. It just moves over out the way, and that's Jay Dixon there moving out the way. But it's going to be one of them things. You either go out and when everybody goes out, or you do what I do and wait till everybody goes and then go out at the back end, because by the time you're starting their lap, they should be halfway through there, so you should be able to get a clear run. But everybody's different. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how this one pans out. It's going to be a little bit strategic, this qualifying. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on it and see how we go. We've got first couple of times coming in. Scotty Bartang on first place at the moment on a 1:49.58.
See how that holds. I mean, it's a long way to go just yet in the qualifying session. You may notice the 2 different colours on the left-hand side. The darker green denotes a pro driver, of which most of these drivers are. But there is a challenge class as well, and we'll be interviewing the winner at the end of each race of that class, as well as the podium from the overall, which we'll do, of course, at the end of the race. But at the moment, it's Tristan McLaren who's taken the current qualifying pole in challenge, just up ahead of Bartine there. There seemed to be someone going straight off the road, and yeah, there was. Not sure who it was, but that's a load of dust kicked up right in front of Bartine as he continues his second lap of the session.
Yeah, I think that may have been Nathan Varney going shooting off the side of the circuit as well. I'd like to give Flavio Dantes a shout. Why do I want to give him a shout out? He's from Brazil, and currently at the moment it's 5:30 in the morning in Brazil. So,
5?
5:30 apparently. I've just literally Googled time in Brazil, and it's come up and told me it's 5:30 in the morning. So, fair play to him.
Right.
That's commitment if I've ever heard of it before.
I know. I thought, actually, that Brazil was 4 hours behind us, but no, it's only 3. Dear me. He must have had a very early morning then, or a very late night. I'm not sure which, but he's up and about, and yeah, good to see him. The only non-Australian New Zealand driver for this race, as he makes his way now through the final chicane. He's actually going quite well in practice, and he's got a purple second last sector and last sector as well. He's going to shoot up to the top, 49.2. So it's very, very close. That much is clear. But at the moment, Dantes has got the pole position 49.2. But I presume this is going to be one of those sessions where times just get quicker and quicker and quicker.
Yeah, I think you are right. I think as the track rubbers in, and it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. Now, I'd like to talk about that new particle model that came into iRacing, and I'll say it now. I've watched open wheelers on Monday night, and when that gravel started coming onto the track, and when all the debris started coming onto the track as well, they got slippery. Okay, so be aware that they got slippery. Yes, they were in the bigger brother in the super formulas, but they did get very, very slippery when the gravel come on, especially trying to overtake out on the marbles, out on the dirt on the outside. They were struggling on the putting the power down after. So they're going to have to be a little bit careful there as well, because it will affect what they're doing on the racetrack. And you can see on some of the corners, the debris line and the marble line coming in already, so they're going to have to really make sure that they can get these done and get these right, because otherwise, if they put the power down out on the marbles, out on the debris, they're going to be going round.
They'll be very pleased as well that the rain is now cleared. In case you're wondering, well, I was going to say in case you're wondering why it's spray being kicked up, but actually there isn't any just for the moment. Earlier on in the day, there was a lot of rain right up until about midday in Sim. It was absolutely tipping it down, but it stopped by 1:30 midday. We started practice at 1:30. So you can understand that it was in Sim. You can understand that the start of the practice session was a little bit damp. The qualified session happening immediately after that. It's between 2:30 and 3 o'clock. We've had enough time now for the rain to go away, and so it's clearing up and it's drying up, and we're not expecting any rain anymore. 0% chance for the remainder. That includes the race, which starts about 15 minutes after this qualifying session time elapses in the Sim. So it's going to be mid-afternoon, if you like, in Suzuka. So dry, thankfully, for these drivers. Aidan Lufwaite has gone to the top of the times then, 49.2, only 49 thousandths ahead of Flavio Dantes at the moment, but going quicker again here by the looks of things in that second sector, as he's just found a little bit of free track space here. Nobody really around him at the moment to get in his way. No,
he's got Sick Finney in the field, at the Scotty Bartain behind him, and then obviously he's out in front. The next one is down in 20th, which is Jamie Skeller, and he's got quite a nice little run right the way down into Casio. No real problems. He's not going to meet any issues. Can he just capitalise, though? Are them 3 yellows offset that green and purple? That's going to be the question. What is he going to be able to do when he comes up towards the line? And what's he going to get here? Into Casio he goes. Nice corner. Comes out the other side. Oh no. Bit of a squirrely exit. And then into pit road he goes as well.
I thought he might have done it anyway, to be honest, because his last few sectors in a row were a little bit slower, so maybe he was giving up anyway. This is Daniel Byrne, and that is teamwork at play. We're certainly going to see a bit of that this season, and in the next round as well, especially next week. The Red Bull Ring should be an example of that. Out over the line for Daniel Byrne, and he goes up to 9th place. How much the slipstream helped with that, I'm not sure, but now his teammate will be directly in behind him, looking to benefit. This is David Gallo, who will now be the beneficiary of the slipstream down in towards 130 or this lap around.
Yeah, if anybody knows, and you know that from another series that these two are on, I've got a little bit of a soft spot for the Carlin boys, to be blatantly honest, and they did send me a cap all the way from Australia last season as well, which is nicely hung on my wall. Bit of a soft spot for the Carlin boys, Danny Byrne and David Gallo. So, yeah, good luck to them too. But this is something that these guys do every qualifying. They will...
Oh, no! Oh, goodness! Until... very nearly went wrong there. They very nearly hit each other. I don't think I've ever seen two teammates hit each other in qualifying, and they very much nearly did.
Yep. Dan Byrne there getting it all a little bit wrong. Into Degner 1. Round he goes, comes along the track, and misses David Gallo.
Oh, he's got in the way of a couple of others, though. Well, it's not his fault because he did spin, but yeah, it's difficult to punish him for that.
Yeah, they can't really do a lot when you're going back. You know what I mean? That's the problem, isn't it? But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what goes on. We've got Tom Donahue in second place, old TD himself, big boss man, sitting in second on the grid at the moment.
He's just in a bit of a traffic jam here through the final chicane. He's fastest in the third last sector on this lap, but nowhere else, and so this might be a struggle to get himself further up the order. He's going to stay second by the look of things. Are we going to get down into the 48s here? 49.1 is the current best from Flavio Dantes, and it looks like he is going to be not quite able to. He's just going to fall short on this occasion at just getting there. Danny Davidson is in the pit, though Davidson I should say is in the pit lane, and he is going to be staying there for the rest of the session by the looks of things. Aidan Lovewaite is off the road from 4th place as well. He is going to go back to pit lane. That might be the end of his session, although there is still just about time, and Phil Vella now goes to the top. We do get a 48. That's the first 48. It's actually a 48.8 from Phil Vella. That's a phenomenal lap time, and he's a long way now ahead of the rest of the field.
Yeah, absolutely flying. He's about 2 tenths at the moment ahead is Phil. So this could be a nice little interesting battle as well. Don't forget, down in the challenges at the moment, Chris Swadling is leading the way there, sitting currently 23rd overall, first in class. Geordie Slater is in 14th. He's got some greens on the board as well as he's coming in the Casio Triangle in that nice little throwback Benetton livery, as he's going to come around the final corner and go over the line, which is just there. That's the end line of the timing line, I should say, for Geordie. He goes and puts himself into 4th place. Great lap from Geordie Slater there. Flavio Dantes, purple on the board and a green, but 3 yellows, Mr. O'Leary.
Yeah. And earlier, Tom Donahue had a very similar setup, if you like, with how his sectors were going, and I'm not entirely sure that this is going to prove any more worthy for Dantes, or maybe over the line.
No.
Yes, he does get a 48. Well, if he gets some of those sectors together, then he could be right in with a shout here of pole position, although Phil Vella will have something to say about that, I'm sure. Tom Donahue now is in the early part of the lap, 3rd, ahead of Geordie Slater, then Davison. So we've got a load of drivers competing for this one. Phil Vella, though, is just through the final corners at the moment, just in behind Daniel Byrne here, who we're following over the line. Can he break into the top 10, maybe, as he goes through? It doesn't look like it's... yes, he does. Oh, no, that's Jay Dixon. Excuse me. 4th place. Getting confused. This is Phil Vella. He takes quite a wide line through the final corner. He's going to give it one more go, I think, at trying to improve his lap time.
Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of a rush to the line. Chris coming over the line as well. He is currently sitting in 25th behind Tristan McLaren, and Tristan is going to stay in front there at this moment in time. So great lap times from some of these challengers, putting themselves in the top 25 at least for this 45-minute feature race. Could be quite interesting how they handle this, you know, because although we sit back and say this track is, you know, it should be quite easy, but it never is here at Suzuka. There's always a curb or a corner, Degner 1, Degner 2, curb on the outside for Dunlop. There's always something that these guys go on to, and it can cause problems here. So they are going to have to be a little bit street savvy on this circuit.
They are. As I say, Lovewaite is off the road, and that might well be the end of that. I thought I saw Flavio Dantes getting off track actually, but he goes over the line and he might have improved. He has. Oh, he's just about done it. What's that? 32 thousandths of a second. Phil Vella has only got one chance to try and overcome him here and get back into the pole position. He's just making his way down the back straight now, and there he is on the way towards 130R. There's not much he can do through this corner. It's just flat out trying to reduce the scrub on the tyres, and then down in towards this final chicane where he's going to try and take the first pole position of the season. Points up for grabs here, don't forget as well, as they go through the final sector. Out over the line he will come, pinning it to the right-hand side, shortening the distance to the line as much as possible. Is it good enough for Phil Vella to get back into pole position? It doesn't look quite like it, no. He may not have even counted here by the looks of things. It may not have counted. Phil Vella is going to stay second. Who now can take this pole position off of Flavio Dantes? It looks like we haven't got many left, to be honest. Geordie Slater is in 6th place at the moment, just into the final chicane. Possibly a chance there, although would need nearly a half a second improvement to get ahead of Dantes. Through the final chicane for Slater. Best lap was on the last lap, by the way. Hoping to harness that momentum to continue moving forwards. What's going to be the time? No, it comes into the pit lane. Clearly wasn't going to improve anyway. I think I saw Tom Donoghue off the road that time round, so he's not going to be improving. Dantes actually does have another lap because he crossed the line with 1 second to go. So he can put this further out of reach if he wants to. Oh, big slide. Very big slide out the final corner. Does he finally put this session to bed? He may have done. Over the line, and it is going to be no improvement by looks. And Chris Mitchell goes up to 3rd place. That's a surprise. Looks like he's going to remain only 2 cars in the 48s. And Flavio Dantes, the only non-Oceanic driver in the field, has taken pole position.
Yeah, 48.866. Great lap from Flavio there as well. Box of Stuffs Gaming, welcome into YouTube chat as well. Greg, good luck to the WBR guys, good luck to DFR. So a couple of supporters of teams in there as well. Danny Bird goes over the line, 49.363. Tristan McLaren is out on track with Chris Swadlin at the moment. So we'll see how these guys can get on. Well, it's not going to happen for Tristan because he's in pit lane. So there we go.
It's not going to happen for Swadling either.
No.
He's just slowly going along into the pit lane. 33 qualify then, and we will have 33 start this race as well in a few moments' time. Now the session has advanced, and we will go through the rather large grid here now since the qualifying session has ended, and gridding will now commence. Flavio Dantes has taken pole position ahead of Phil Vella, with Chris Mitchell at that late lap time getting into 3rd ahead of Tom Donoghue. Then it is Craig Edwards and Jay Dixon on row 3. Geordie Slater and Danny Davidson is in row 4. Aidan Lethwaite and Mark Healy round out the top 10 with Scott Barchain and Daniel Byrne next. 13th place has gone to Douglas Goins ahead of David Gallo. We saw for Carlins it is Scott Pocock and Chase Saxlid who has taken 16th. Robert Tilbury and Jack Mara on row 9 ahead of Greg Bradley and Marcus Konitzer. Then Sam Chapman just outside the top 20 ahead of Jamie Skeller. Andrew Johnston is in 23rd ahead of Adrian Loretti. And these guys, of course, we've just got over a second off of pole. Tristan McLaren has taken the challenge pole ahead of Jackson Dale, a pro driver. Then Swadling, who we were just seeing there, he's second in challenge ahead of Benjamin Brook, who was in the pros as well. Then all challenge to the bottom. Josh Marsh, Jake Robillard, Sam Katakuzinos, Brett Douglas and Nathan Verney rounding out the 33 cars in the field. And there they are, gridding up, getting ready for the first race of the season.
Yeah, I'll tell you now, it's Sam Katakazinos.
Okay, that's what I was trying to say, but it didn't come out right.
Mate, it threw me out the first time I saw the name as well, to be blatantly honest with you. I couldn't pronounce it for love nor money, but yeah, Sam Katakazinos there as well on the race circuit. So, hi Sam, welcome in. He does jump into YouTube chat in some of the broadcasts here at the same time. They've got about 3 minutes of gridding to get on to the grid. And we'll see how they get on for the first opening race of the season. What do we reckon? First round nerves? Are there going to be some punterinos, but not on purpose, should we say?
Well, I think this circuit is going to be difficult anyway, to be honest, as far as that goes. Staying out of trouble, But we'll see how the opening race of the season goes. It's going to go one of two ways, I suppose. Either people are going to be careful because it's the first round, or people are not going to be careful, and there's going to be a lot of carnage as a result because it is the first round. But looking forward to finding out. It's a good place to start the season.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. And it's going to be a good season, I think, of some great racing. So stay tuned. Don't forget, if you are here for the first time, like, subscribe, turn on the bells, because we've got a lot more racing coming up this week as well. Matthew Gerard, let's go Doug and Sam, go Velocity Simlag. That's old Dougie Gowans as well. Old Dougie Grandpa Gowans, that's what is relatively known as in and around this area. And Ridgeway Racing, push, he says in YouTube chat. Welcome in, Robert, as well. Why are you awake, mate? Is it quite late over in the US?
I was thinking that.
Yeah, is it late in the US for you? So why
at the very earliest. Yeah, I'm not sure what part of the US he's from, but at the very earliest, it's going to be about 10 to 1. Anyway, let's get on with the racing, shall we? We have still got someone to grid up in the background. Sam Chapman hasn't got onto the grid yet, so it looks like we're waiting for him. Although there he is, popped onto the grid, and it looks like we're pretty much ready to go. The first round of the season in the Player One SimGear Super Formula Lights Championship here from Suzuka is set to get underway for 45 minutes of racing, and Flavio Dantes looks to have gotten away decently well with Phil Vella just alongside. He switches to the opposite side in towards turn 1 and 2. Then in third place, Chris Mitchell trying to get involved as well as they get up into the S's for the first time. So Tom Donoghue and Craig Edwards and Jay Dixon all very close in towards the corners, and it looks like there may have been some smoke and a spin in the background, but maybe we've got away all right in the end. It's certainly a good start for Flavio Dantes, who's taken the lead and held it through the S's for the first time.
Yeah, Flavio Dantes there, Phil Vella, Mitchell, Donoghue, Edwards all got off the line. No real dramas to report at this moment in time. No major issues for anyone. Dantes did what he had to do. He got off the line, instantly blocked off Vella. Vella had no choice to come back on the outside line. Couldn't get that job done. Can't get it done into the hairpin either. So Flavio Dantes holding on to this, doing an absolute stellar job at the moment. Action all the way through. Tristan McLaren is in that pack on the screen. He's leading the Challenger class as well, and there's a big gaggle of cars down here. Surely hopefully they'll make it all through cleanly, but it's looking 50-50.
Yeah, it's the problem when you're actually in the challenge class here, especially when you're trying to win the class, is that you start in the middle. And now down the inside, McLaren gets into 23rd as Johnston goes very wide and he's off the road at Spoon Curve. Just got on that curve and he didn't want to spin around by turning sharply in, so just used the tarmac on the exit. Lifthwaite and Davison side by side. Dixon and Slater as well as the leaders stay single file. There's all sorts going on there through at 130R, and Dawson and Lifthwaite are still going. Davison, excuse me, and Lifthwaite are still going for it. That was very close out of the corner. Davison just sliding right in front of Ed and Lifthwaite there, and now onto the straight they go. They're gonna, if they want to stay in touch with the leaders anyway, they're going to need to get a bit more organised than this, as the actual leaders don't go side by side. Hilly and Bartine certainly are side by side into the first couple of corners. In contact between the two of them. They're both in the fence down there at turn 1. Hilly and Bartine have, I'm afraid, come to blows. And it looks especially like Bartine has got a lot of damage down there. Yeah,
he unfortunately, he can't say a lot. I think it was down on him, unfortunately for Scotty. You see, locks up into the entrance into one, goes back, yeah, and then straight into Hilly after, unfortunately, and that is it. Scotty Bartan all done and dusted and back to pit lane. TD, however, has just got past Chris Mitchell, so still action out on the racetrack, action all the way through. Marcus Knixa is unfortunately become a little bit of a cropper as well, and has got has been off the side of the circuit and been involved in something at the same time. So unfortunately for Marcus there as well. It looks like Mark Hilly again has had another issue after the initial incident, but yeah, there's a lot going on all of a sudden, and the pot has just, should we say, boiled.
Well, the leaders have gotten away from the rest of the field in all of this, as the battle for third has got very fierce. Not sure whether Mitchell has been contributing to that and allowed Dantes to have a 1v1 with Phil Vella, but I suppose it might help the team if that indeed was the case. Donoghue has indeed got alongside. While these two are busy playing games, there's side-by-side going on further behind. Mitchell comes back through again, in towards the 130R, now into the chicane. Bit of a squeeze, but he's gotten through, and now he can't quite take the apex because behind him, Edwards, Dixon went for the inside and spun. I'm pretty sure that's what's happened, or at least half spun. There he is, he's down in ninth. Jay Dixon there, I think, was trying to make up a place and get to fourth. In the end, he's barely hanging on to a top 10. Yeah,
it's getting very, very manic indeed here. You've got Dan Burn in there as well. He's in 10th place. He's chasing down Jay Dixon. Gallo's just cleared Dougie Gowans at the same time. So Carlin boys are moving up together almost. Dan Burn up 2, Gallo up 3. Some interesting situations going on further down in the Challenger class. Tristan McLaren, Chris Stwadlin are battling out. Both of them up 5 and 6 places respectively. So lots of action still taking shape all the way through. And this is the Challenger battle at this moment in time. Tristan McLaren just up the road. Chris trying to catch up with him. He's got Jamie Skeller tucked up his gearbox at the moment. But action all the way through the field. And it's still going off now because Jay Dixon has just lost the place to Dan Burn. Burn moves up into 9th.
He's having a difficult lap or so, is Jay Dixon now. In this very big group from 4th place right the way down. Pretty much to Tilbury, who's in 17th at the moment. All the top 19 pros at the moment, led by Dantes and Vella, who are, I don't want to say battling away really, because they're not overtaking each other. They're just running away from the rest. They're doing what I suppose some would describe as the smart thing at this stage in the race. They are conserving themselves, if you like, conserving their battling, and in doing so, extending their margin over all this. As side by side as Lufwait and Donoghue go in towards 130 yards around the outside for Lufwait. Flat out in these cars. He's going to try and look down the inside into the chicane as well on Mitchell, who needed, Edwards, Craig Edwards, who needed defence, and he just about had it, but Lufwait gets into the top 5. That's Donoghue down another position.
Yeah, now he's going to close in on Craig Edwards. That draft's going to kick in here as down that front stretch. You can see it's down below a tenth for the moment. 1.5, 1.4, 1.2, 1.1. Almost made that move. They were side by side in the back round. Danny Davidson and also, I believe that was Geordie Slater. Dixon in the mix still. Got the Carlin boys tucked up right behind him, and Benjamin Brook, Robillard, Swadlin. Action all the way through here. You can see on the left-hand side there's not many white numbers, and when there isn't many white numbers, that's people separated by a second, and they're not quite at that yet. You can see Edwards has got a long queue of people in behind him. Lufwait, Donoghue, Slater, Davison, Dixon, Byrne, Gallo, Mara. Lots happening here, Ewan, and it's getting quite feisty, shall we say.
Yep, that was Slater running a little bit wide in the background there. Just seeing the off-track pop up on the tower. Didn't really go that wide. Just would have picked up an off-track. In these races, there is an incident limit, by the way, and so they're going to have to be careful of that. 17x before you start receiving penalties. So got to be careful of that. Into the spoon curve they go. Mitchell just off the road in front of them, and that was just a little bit wide there from him, but Lufwait has got a very good run, much like he did to Donoghue earlier on. He's now doing the same to Edwards and squeezing him right the way to the left-hand side. Now he'll pull a little bit further out wide and swing right around the outside, and there you go, Lufwait up a position. Here goes Donoghue. Oh, it's moving to the left-hand side. Goodness me, that was aggressive. He's done it though, and he's stayed on the road at least, and he's not going to get the place. There's a load of gravel has been brought to the circuit there, by the way, just off the line. This is Slater now, in the blue and yellow, trying to get through. In the full yellow, it's Davison, who's making it free wide by the looks of things. Last time this happened in towards turn 1, didn't end very well. Let's see how it ends this time round. Oh, around the outside for Davison. Gets 2 in 1 at turn 1 and 2. That was a very impressive overtake. He just keeps it on the circuit, and he gets into 6th place, very impressively indeed.
Yeah, Danny Davison there, great move over TD and Geordie Slater. Jay Dixon is in this little pack as well. They're kind of making all of the circuit, which is the interesting thing. They're using all of it to overtake. We would normally say you get that run out of Spoon right the way down to Casio Triangle. That's where you're going to get the overtakes done. But these guys seem to be using any part of the circuit at all that they can get a gap alongside, which is great to see for us up here in the booth, of course. Benjamin Brook looks like he's just had a problem, been off the side of the circuit. We've got the three challengers together, Swadlin, Rabelard and Katkazinos. They're all down in 21st, 22nd and 21st, 22nd and 23rd, gaining 6 and 8 places respectively. So the couple of the challengers moving up through the field. But Greg Bradley has got a situation here because he is literally at the back end of this pack. So everybody in front of him will be getting a draft. He'll be getting a draft as well. But he's got to obviously try and make moves and stay in contact with them. If he can get sort of a car per lap or pick off people at the same time, you know, he's got to be big and brave like he is now. There he goes alongside Scotty Pocock through the left-hander. Is he going to keep it on? He is. What's the situation coming into Casio? They're going to run side by side, and at the moment he's going to be able to get through too wide into Casio. Bradley comes out over the top, but Pocock gets the exit.
Yep, he's going to hold that position by the looks of things, and Tilbury will try and get involved. Greg Bradley hasn't got the best run onto the straight. He's going to just try and defend from him here, Bradley, and actually make an overtake of his own in his defence. But no, he backs out of that one. That all must mean, by the way, that we've seen a change in the challenge lead, because Tristan McLaren is way down in 27th now. I reckon there must have been an incident there between some of those drivers, because Tristan McLaren's a long way off the lead now. It's being held by Swadling. We saw earlier Swadling was chasing McLaren. And I didn't think he'd ever got there, but there's certainly been an incident there for McLaren. As we go back to the battle for 8th place. Oh, that was close. Dixon nearly had a look down the inside at the first of the Degners, but didn't do it that time, and stays behind in this long group, which is still pretty close together. Here he goes again. Dixon having a look, and Donoghue gives him the space, maybe too much space. They run side by side out of the hairpin.
Yeah, Donoghue gave him a lot of space and it slingshotted back past him again. Now we've got Dan Burns sticking in there, and at the moment it looks like TD is going to keep it, Dixon's going to keep it, Byrne and Gallo are still where they are. Tristan McLaren, an update on Tristan McLaren, he entered into pit lane and come out of pit lane. So I'm not entirely sure what the issue was for Tristan McLaren, but he went in pit lane, he was in there for about 4.93 of seconds and came out the other side. But you can see at the moment Dixon and Donoghue side by side through the left-hander coming into Casio now. Is it going to be hard on the brakes for Dixon? Donoghue's going to try and run him in too wide. He almost did. That's going to put him offline for the exit, and I think this could be Danny Burns' chance. If he can get the run now after that Casio triangle, he could get TD as well.
Here we go. He makes his way past on the left-hand side, and Mara's going to get involved here as well. Will he pop him on the right or our left here? He's surely going to be on the outside. Where is he? There he is, on the outside line. He's going to try and do both. Oh, goodness me! What an overtake that was! 3 wide into turn 1, and Mara has got into the top 10 in dramatic fashion. Jack Mara, 9th place, 9 positions gained. A spectacular overtake round the outside of a 3 wide moment into turn 1.
Yeah, he literally did 3. He did Gallo, Byrne and Donoghue, and Gallo wasn't too far back on the overtake list, but then he just did this. This was mightily impressive at the same time, and he literally just comes past the 3 of them. There he is on the outside line at the moment. Down he goes, just going to sweep round the outside, big and brave, pick him up, stick him in your pocket, son. Round he goes. Look at that, a 3 wide scenario. You're probably going to see that's probably going to be one of the best overtakes of the season.
It probably will be, to be honest. It looks like we've had a change of lead, by the way, between Phil Vella and Flavio Dantes. We've not been looking at them because they've been so unable to battle so far. Well, not unable, but unwilling, certainly, to battle. Will Dantes want his lead back, or will he be happy to reverse the roles for the next 10 minutes or so, just like Vella has done with him? It looks like it's going to be the latter.
Yeah.
He's going to just stay behind. This is how it happened, almost a lap ago. I guess you get lulled into a false sense of security here when you're Dantes. You don't think he's going to go for it, and suddenly he does down the inside at 130R, and that was a pretty easy lead change.
Yeah, it was, but now we've got it going back as well. Dantes just said, thank you very much. I'll have that back again going down into turn 1. So they are now going to swap backwards and forwards like a little kangaroo hopping there for Dantes and Vela. So we'll try and keep an eye on it, but they will probably swap backwards and forwards quite a few times. We've still got Davidson and Edwards, they're still nose to tail. Dixon, Mara, Byrne, Donahue, Chris Saxlid, Gallo, Gowans, Pocock, Bradley, and now Robert Tilbury are all in the mix in that middle pack. You can see running from 8th right the way down to 17th place there. So action is still taking place in this mid-pack. Going to be very, very hard to keep a track of it, but I'm sure it won't be the first time they're going to swap places there. Ridgway there. Apparently Robert Ridgway's on the International Space Station.
He's lying again.
You know, look, hey.
Can you imagine what happens to his sim rig up there? Goodness me, it must be a nightmare to tie down. Anyway.
Just use duct tape. Duct tape for everything.
What a nightmare that is. Meanwhile, the battle for 9th place continues on. You notice then this often does happen in Super Formula Light racing, like it does in F3 and F4 racing sometimes. The more battles that go on, the sort of lower down the field the group gets. You see people get away. Effectively, the top 7 have all gotten away from this group, and they're outside of the second. Now we have got the battle for 1st and a battle for 5th going on, but you know that's just a couple of pairs at the moment. It is interesting that there are 7 drivers who've been able to get away because of the battling going on, although they could get dragged back in again if they do things like this. That's Davison getting back through on Craig Edwards. That last spot for the top 5. Brian and Donoghue, though, go side by side themselves, and now look at the gap created. The top 9 are away from this group, so the group gets smaller and smaller and smaller as people begin to escape from it.
Yeah, they do. And now we're going to go too wide again, almost free. We are going to go free. Down into 1. We've seen this work once. Donoghue didn't quite brave enough to run it round. Couldn't quite do Amara. And unfortunately for Donoghue, ended up losing a place to Dougie Gowans there. So you are right. They do kick on and then leave the group behind. So it does come down the order, and you know you can see from the position Mara's gone up to 9th. He's got a bit of a gap now over Saxlid, who's got 1.8 seconds to Mara. So it does 100%. You are correct. It does sort of filter itself down, and then literally before you know it, you've got a break in the whole thing. So yeah. You'll be seeing how they get on and how long further it takes. We've got Gallo and Byrne now just kind of blocking the track. Whoa! What's that? What was that? What's Dougie Gowans in the green? Does he mount the back end here?
So, I think he does just clip him there, yeah.
Just hits the tyre, doesn't he, by the looks of it?
Yeah, just clipped him on the way to the hairpin. There might be a bit of net code involved here. Let's have a look at this.
I know, it is tyre to tyre.
Yeah, it is.
Just misjudges it there for the old man, Grandpa Gowans.
He's just down to 17th, although back up again. Goes past Skeller, side by side towards 130. Oh, that's very wide from Donoghue, who is starting to struggle really, and losing positions pretty quickly. Here goes Pocock round the outside, and through he goes into 13th place for the Red Rocket Racing car. It's very easy to see these ones, which is good. There's going to be a response here though from Donoghue, and he knew that the slipstream was going to be there for him as well. He'll get back here, but Bradley might well just hamper that as he goes through the middle. 3 wide into turn 1 again for the 4th time this race. They go 3 wide in towards the first corner, and it's not worked out for Donoghue for the 2nd time. He's now down to 16th place. This is turning into a bit of a disaster for the man who qualified, I should say, in 4th place.
Yeah, unfortunately for OTD, he's going backwards quicker than he's going forwards here. He's dropping down the order. He's down into 12th. He gets on that outside line in turn 1, and he just can't get brave enough to send it round the outside. He needs to kind of be really big and brave. There's a big puff of smoke there. I think that was Greg Bradley. Off the set. Oh, it has, and then there was an after spin for Greg.
That was look here into the Magnus over the first curb. Big slide.
Yeah, it's getting on track, watch.
Yeah, and then he tries to get going again. And it's not able to, quite as he wanted to. So he spins around. And now this group that was so large at one stage is now looking a lot smaller, and these little battles are starting to pop up. Mitchell versus Lufwait into the final corners now. And Lufwait looking to rescue a podium here by the looks of things after qualifying down in 9th place. We'll see if you can manage it, but I don't think any of them are going to be challenging the top two just for the moment, as Slater there gets through on Craig Edwards.
Yeah, so it was side by side running down into Casio. Slater got the job done over Edwards. Mitchell has got Lufwait right alongside him. Down into turn one, through he goes. They're going to run wide. Almost look like they banged tyres then. And Lufwait makes it through without any problems. Mitchell's coming back at him though, start going into the snake. Not an ideal place to try and go too wide, but they did manage to get it done, and Lufwait did manage to get through. So Dougie Gowans has just recovered and trying to go around the outside of Jamie Skeller into one. Onto the marbles he goes. Grip deteriorates, and unfortunately he loses a place to Adrian Loretti instead. So not talked about the challengers much this evening. Chris Swadlin out in front for the challenger class, got Greg Bradley in behind, and Marcus Kanitsa separating him from Sam Katkazinos, who's sitting second in challengers. So great job from them. Back up front with the leaders. They've swapped positions a couple of times, and now they're back to Dantes out in front with Bella in behind.
Yep, it's the battle that's been going on for the entire race. Flavio Dantes has shown that he wants to lead this race rather than being in second following like Vela is. That was quite wide for his spoon, by the way, and yeah, I'm not sure he will have gotten away with that, but anyway, he continues on. There's Lufwait versus Mitchell. Wonder whether these two are going to continue to fight it out, or whether they're going to get into a bit of an agreement as well. Well, there's your answer. Chris Mitchell down the inside. Strolls out a little bit towards the end of the straight, but he does get through on Lufwait, although he'll come back again. No, not quite. Can't get through. So this has all the makings maybe of a battle that might well last the last 25 minutes as well.
Yeah, they're starting to develop little pockets now. As you say, that pack that we did have is now led by Gallo, who's got Byrne in behind, and Pocock, Tilbury, Donahue. And then we've got Adrian Loretti, which is about 4 seconds back. We've got Jake Robillard. Yeah, he is fighting away at the moment, sitting in 24th place, and that's Sam Chapman. No, it's not Sam Chapman, actually. Who is that in front of him then currently? Is that Andrew Johnston? Andrew Johnston, sorry, in front in 23rd. So these two can continue to fight all the way probably till the end. But this is the natural story of super formulas. We said it, and you can see now, is Robillard going to go through? He is. And there, and then makes a mistake, unfortunately.
Yeah, me. That was a big slide. Well, he's still third, but in the class, that is. But that was a very big slide indeed. Oh, it was very close for Lufwait and Mitchell. There was a lock-up from somebody there, and a very, very close moment for Lufwait as he nearly got into the back end of Mitchell. This is only going to invite those from further behind to get involved in the fight, and this is as well. Lufwait down the inside at Spoon Curve, and he gets through into the corner. Meanwhile, further up front, Vela has got past Dantes, and that was on the exit of Spoon. Dantes didn't get a very good run there.
Yeah, but he's going to look like he's going to try and get him back going into Casio through the left-hander. Dantes is going to take, is he going to take the inside line? No, he's just sat in, following him. There could be a move down into turn one again. You see that debris line closing in. They're not having a lot of room left. It's just the racing line for these. And now Dantes again looks like he's going to close up on Vela. Is he going to get the move done for the lead here going down into turn one?
Is he going to go for it? No, not this time for Dantes. Further behind, Mitchell hangs on from Lufwait, but they went side by side, so Davison is going to catch up. Slater and Edwards, 6th and 7th as well. And then we've got 12th place Byrne, who's at the head of the biggest group in the field now, and they're battling away again. Pocock in towards the first corner is going to give this a go on the outside line. In towards Spoon Curve again, pretty close between the two of them.
Oh, they did hit.
Just about. Byrne there goes into 12th. Tilbury is going to get past Pocock, is he? No, not quite, but that was very close to disaster for the both of them.
Yeah, Byrne and Pocock there almost hit tyre. Well, they did touch tyres, and lucky that both men got away with it. It was tyre wall to tyre wall, fortunate enough for them. This is the end of the battles. It kind of really softens out after these guys, but at the moment still Dantes and Vela. Dantes didn't look like he had an aggressive nature about him on that run. He looked like he almost could have made that move down into turn one, but he just kind of chose not to, which then sort of, I don't know, it was, you know, he just kind of, maybe he's waiting, but we've, could be just waiting for that, to be honest. But we've seen this waiting game before with people waiting for the last lap or the second to last lap, and it, you know, it doesn't work out. It is a throw of the dice for Dantes and Vela to be, or for Dantes to be doing this. Is, you know, I think I would prefer to make a move a little bit more decisively with a bit more time left, to be honest.
Well, let's see. It's going to be interesting. I think this is such a slipstreaming circuit that actually it could be difficult to get away. Mitchell's got off the road. We'll get back to that point in a couple of moments' time because Mitchell's got off the road in the battle for the lead as well between Dantes and Vela. That's Dantes who's going to get through with relative ease, but Mitchell, I'm afraid, has gone off the road in this battle for third place. It's a spin on the exit of the chicane. Was he hit by Luftweight, or did he drop it on his own? Is going to be the next big question. There's your answer. He's dropped it on his own and he's lost his top 3, his top 5 and nearly his top 10.
Yeah. Well, he has lost top 10. He's down in 16th in class, unfortunately for Chris Mitchell, so he did lose that there. Swadlin's having a little bit of a tidy little ta-ta with Greg Bradley. Greg's just gone through on him there. Now this group again, as we've got Tilbury, Pocock, Byrne, and that is it. The 9 that we had, or 10, or whatever extreme amount of number it was earlier on in the race, has only become 4, and it's dropped off quite a lot. Dantes and Vela not really ever lost each other. Luftweight and Davidson were going at it from the very beginning, and now we've got Geordie Slater with Edwards still continuing to battle. So yeah, slowly starting to dwindle down. The white times are coming in.
And towards the fast left-hander he comes. I'd say this is probably my favourite livery, and I know it's a mock-up of another livery, but I do like it from Slater. As we look back from him now towards Edwards, who tries to slipstream in up behind and try and get in ahead of Slater in towards 130R. He's going to go nowhere here, and he will stay behind into the chicane. I'll let this play out as well while I make my next point, with just less than 20 minutes to go. People really underestimate, and this race has proven it to me, the amount of slipstreaming that goes on and the amount of high speed that there is here at Suzuka. It is a lot of long straights, a lot of slipstreaming, especially in cars like this, and it's very, very difficult to get away. You don't really associate Suzuka with being pretty difficult to get away, but if you get 2 drivers who are very well matched, like Dantes and Vela, who are at the front of the field, it is almost impossible to get away because the slipstream is just going to drag you back in, and people don't think about that and factor that in very often when they think about going racing at this circuit.
Yeah, you don't picture Suzuka that way. I think that's the problem. It's very technical. You know, you've got a lot of lefts, you've got a lot of rights, you've got the fast entrance Degner, and then you've got the slow exit Degner, which is where we're at now. You've got the fast entrance, slow exit, and off we go again. It's not something that's been associated with it, but you look back over to some of the certain racetracks that I know of and you know of as well that are very tough to overtake. Catalonia, Hungaroring, places like that, there's very liney and meh, you know, to come here, and then we've had overtakes all the way through. Literally, it's just been right the way through the pack. It's great to see, and this is something that the racing I find at Suzuka doesn't really matter what car, sort of kind of car you put here, can and has always been great racing.
Yeah, it certainly can be, and maybe underestimated as well, perhaps. McLaren's off the road, by the way, down in 16th, 26th. Again, has he got? He's gone off on his own here, hasn't he? In the Degners, it's a pretty easy place to make an error. His line was a bit strange on the way in, and maybe that just put him off. He's gone wide into the gravel. He's tried to save it, but he has. Oh, he's grazed the wall. He's actually got away with that a bit more than I thought, but he's brought a load of gravel onto the circuit all over again. This is the group for 11th place, the only remaining group really in the field, after we saw a very, very large one indeed earlier on. Pocock into the pit lane, meanwhile, getting himself out of trouble. And now that'll leave Donoghue and Tilbury to go side by side. Tilbury's got a lot of speed. He's actually so far away from each other, they can't be in the same camera shot. There they are. Tilbury can't get himself through there. It is also very wide on the front straight, actually, this circuit, as Tilbury gets back through again on Tom Donoghue, who's not having a good time through turn 1 and 2.
No, you don't really like tightening it up or using the curb, or like coming, using the apex. Unfortunately for TD, he always ends up runs wide and then kind of tries to like a slingshot move back round, but not really working at the moment there. Slater and Edwards are literally still nose to tail, and then we've still got Vela and Dantes up front, who are also still continuing to battle. Excuse me, put my teeth in this morning.
Yep, it's that'll be good. 16 minutes to go as we look at Brett Douglas go over the line. He's still on the lead lap, just about, by the way, and he's one of 30 who have managed to stay on the lead lap for the moment, as far as I can see, showing that Nathan Verney is on the lead lap, but he's not, because you can see him in the background. There he is. He is not on the lead lap in 31st into the final chicane for Slater and Edwards. And Slater hangs on to this position. Look at the gap out front as well, by the way, 3/4 of a second. That is the biggest it's been for a while. I mentioned that it's difficult to get away, but it's not impossible. That's not what I was saying. It isn't impossible. Dantes using these corners now to maybe just put the pressure on Phil Vela, but so far he has responded and he's kept in slipstreaming range.
Yeah, he has, and he's done a great job. He's the thing for Dantes, he's trying to escape, and that's what he's done. He's almost decided that he's going to put the pressure down. Either that or Vela's made a mistake that we haven't picked up on. But Dantes at the moment he's on a run. He's like a little scolded cat trying to run away. There's been something happening down with Gallo. Gallo's been off. Mitchell's crashed as well.
Moretti as well. Seems to have been involved. Let's have a look what's happened. Gallo in towards, it's not a coincidence, is it? Spin through turn 2 for Gallo. Does he avoid the wall? Oh, just about. But he did graze it. Now, coming into shot. This is separate. And it's three
wide.
In towards turn 1. Mitchell on the very inside. There was slight contact. Very slight. And he goes spinning around. Oh, and he grazed it. It was that Loretti, maybe, who just grazed the car that was already stopped there, Gallo. And, well, they've all gotten away with that, just about. But that could have been worse. Yeah,
it could have been a little bit messy. I will like to say this gap has come back down again. So Phil Vela using that to back down, got it down to 4/10. Edwards sat here behind Slater, literally nose to tail. We've got 14 minutes to go. And it looks like Craig Edwards thought about it, didn't get it done. Mara and Dixon, well, as we've seen from Mara, 3 wide round turn 1, sweeping round, taking 2 positions is not impossible. So for Jay Dixon, I'm not quite sure how you're going to defend this at this moment in time, because it looks like Mara may come at you, but no change in front. And here comes Mara now over Dixon.
Loretti's still dropping down the order, by the way, as Dixon is overtaken by Jack Mara. Slightly less impressive one in towards turn 1 and 2 than earlier, but my goodness, he's going to take some beating for that one. I think we may well have seen overtake. We may have gone too soon on this season, to be honest, because I think we've seen the best overtake in the first half an hour.
Yep, I agree. I think Mara's come and just showed us what he's got, and then everything else after, we're like, oh, that was boring overtake. We almost want him to do 3 wide every single time round the outside of turn 1, and now it's not happening. But he's moving up through the field, Jack Mara, so fair play to your son. That was an absolutely stellar overtake. Probably, good, as I say, going to be one of the best of the season, if not the best. And it is only race number 1, but it does make you wonder, if we've got this in race 1, what are we going to have for the rest of the season from these guys?
Yeah, does make you wonder as they make their way now out onto the long run towards Spoon. You can see on the tower and the track map that things are a little bit more spread out than they once were, but we have only got 12.5 minutes remaining, and the real big question hanging over this race is who's going to win it and how to win it as well between Dantes and Vela. They've been following each other for so long. The biggest gap has gotten out to about 3/4 of a second, 8/10. That wasn't enough to break the slipstream for Flavio Dantes. Everybody could have seen that. And now he's into the pit lane. Now the games begin. As far as trying to win this race goes, it's quite interesting, actually, that the leader of the race has tried to go first rather than the second place driver, which is the way around it normally goes. Ella carries on for one more as Flavio Dantes makes his pit stop.
Yeah, Greg, I hope that answers your question in YouTube chat. Is there a pit stop required in the race? Yes. Dantes in, Davidson in, Loafway in, Slater in, Dixon, Chris Saxlid in. Some of the guys do carry on. Danny Byrne does carry on there. Donahue carries on. Tilbury at the same time. Dantes comes out in 4th at the moment, pushing about 23 seconds to Phil Vella. So that is going to be very, very close. And Dantes at the moment has got no real traffic in front of him. In fact, it's actually Jack Mara ahead of him up the road. So Dantes got a bit of clean air as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, by the way, I was just Googling because Bob in YouTube chat says my favourite overtake here was Eddie Irvine overtaking Michael Schumacher and Mika Hakkinen around the outside at turn 5. I didn't know about that, but it was. I've just looked it up.
Was it there? I didn't know about it either, to be honest with you.
You don't remember it? Okay, fine.
No. I don't even know if I watched it. Did I watch it?
1997, I guess I don't know. But yeah, I certainly didn't for obvious reasons. Watch that one. Vella, meanwhile, makes his way towards the final chicane, and will he respond? So Dantes has made his pit stop early, and Vella now is going to be joining him, I would suspect, or is he going to just run the tank dry and try and do it that way? It looks like he's going to do it straight away, respond straight away. So Dantes needs a very good outlap here. And he's, done most of it now, so it's a bit late to say that, but he needed a very, very good outlap indeed. Vella needed a good inlap. And, of course, he will have been on slightly lower fuel as well. He's got to have taken advantage of that with 10 minutes to go. Out over out of the final chicane he goes. Vella now on the exit. He's already rolling here as Dantes makes his way down the straight. There goes Vella. He's back up to speed again. And Dantes is a little bit further behind. He's been leading this race for quite a long time here. Vella's been sat behind him, and maybe just saving enough fuel to save his race and lock up from Dantes. He makes an error, and that could be the race. Phil Vella might well have just strategized his way to an opening round win here.
That and a 1.2 seconds faster pit stop. Dantes was stopped for 5.88. Vella stopped for 4.63. But the mistake as well was antagonised that gap back out to about 3 seconds. I've just literally watched that overtake. Great overtake from Eddie Irvine there. Fair play to him on that one. But I think now for Dantes, he's got to look at trying to... I don't really know, to be honest. We haven't seen a mistake from Vella all race. It's highly unlikely that we might see one, which then is kind of going to sewn up that Craig Edwards and Phil Vella with Flavio Dantes, and it looks like Vella could come out on top. The reason Edwards is out in front, ladies and gentlemen, is because he has not pitted, but he is probably due in very, very shortly there. So fair play to Craig Edwards for giving it a go. Let's see where he comes out.
Is he going to make it all the way home? Doesn't look like it.
Well, he would have had to fuel save an absolute ton.
I know, yeah. So, sadly, we'll dream on about that. Just over 8 minutes to go. He'll have to come in to pit lane. Vella then, nearly 3 seconds in front. I mean, surely knowing that everyone would have had to make a pit stop here, which Dantes will have known at the start of this race, surely his desperation, seemingly, to lead the race ahead of Vella, who was sat behind him pretty much all day, bar a lap or two, surely that strategy to try and lead all the time was a bit silly in hindsight, knowing that Vella would be saving fuel behind him.
Yeah. What do you do then? Do you slow up and let him go through? We'll have Verstappen Hamilton games, won't we? Because Vella would be like, no, I don't want it. Dantes is like, no, I don't want it. It'll be like, to me, to you, to me, to you. You know, and then nobody's going to get out on the front. But I don't think... The thing is, I don't think the swapping of positions could be helped because, as you said, the way the draft works of being so strong here, I think he either lifted and sat in behind him, which clearly he didn't do, or they did what they did and just overtake each other each lap. So big lock up though, however, from Vela. That might give Dantes a little bit of hope there.
Yeah, it's difficult to say really, but I think the exchanging positions each lap, as an almost agreement between the two of them, as long as they didn't fight when they were doing it, I think that could have worked. But unfortunately for Dantes, he's lost out here. He'd rather had the rug pulled from under him, I've got to say. This is the battle for the challenge win between Swadling and Katakuzinos in 19th and 20th. Just up ahead, it looks like Dal has gone off the road, and he has. There's the dust, and there's the gravel. Have a load of that. Oh dear, yeah, that's a bit nasty. But anyway, the battle for the lead is very much on here. Now then, pit stop time between these two. Katakuzinos slightly quicker than slightly slower than Swadling. Actually, he's just got past Jackson Dal. So he's got to do it on the racetrack now, but he's in the slipstream, so maybe there is a chance here for a lead change very late on.
Yeah, it depends what sort of runs Sam can get out of Spoon. Got a nice run there, got 6 tenths on him. It's going to be probably round about 2.5 by the time they get into Casio, by the time it starts coming down. Or at the moment, out at 6 tenths, not making a massive inroad whatsoever. So unfortunately for Sam there, that really didn't make any difference, as McLaren's just lost a place to Jamie Skeller. Then we got Andrew Johnson, Loretti, and Dale there, who unfortunately seems to be going backwards quicker than he's going forwards. Oh, there we go. I don't know if that was some form of issue he had, but through they go as well. So overtakes coming further down, but that draft wasn't very strong there for Sam. But he's made the most of it going down that front stretch now. He's closed in within 4 tenths.
Yep. He's got just over 5 minutes to do this now around this circuit. That's what, 1 minute 48 lap time. So we'll see where that leaves us as far as laps to go here. I think it is going to be 3 laps to go at the line for Vela, who's just making his way down the back straight. So these guys have got over 3.5 laps left remaining, and that is exactly what Swadling did not want to hear, because he's got a real fight on, and he's lost it through the first segment. Great save, but he's lost the lead to Sam Katakuzinos, and further behind. Jamie Skeller gets into the wall as well, but it's Katakuzinos who leads the challenge class after a huge save from Swadling, and perhaps off put by that, Skeller has got into the wall as well.
Yeah, it gets a slide, and then Skeller just runs wide, and then into the wall he goes. I don't know if that was more of an avoidance from Skeller. He kind of almost looked like he thought Swadling was going to come back at him, but again, now Swadling's under attack from McLaren at the same time. So these challengers coming together right at the end of the race, and Katakuzinos looks like he's going to go and take the win here. He's escaped up the road by nearly 2 seconds, and now it's all about Swadling and McLaren having a good old ding-dong.
Certainly is. Now in towards the fast left-hander they go. McLaren's going to have a go here for second place in the class, and he's going to be ruining, I think, his mistake earlier on in the day, because that has cost him a win here, I would say. He dropped over 10 seconds off the lead after the error, by the way, and all of a sudden he's just 2 seconds off the win. In fact, he could be into second. Outside line, he has a look here. McLaren, he's going to be on this famous run on the outside of turn 1 and 2, and he's going to get it done pretty easily. Just under 2 seconds. 3 laps to go as these guys are on now, and so maybe, just maybe, there is time left for him to complete this recovery to the front of the field. Yeah,
it depends what Sam does up front. If he can keep it clean, he should be okay. I'll say that in a loose term. Sam's best time 49.9, Tristan's best time 50.2, and then last lap here for Tristan was a 53.2, Sam's was a 50.73, Tristan, sorry, was a 51.1. So Sam's just got to keep it on the racetrack, and now we've got Andrew Lufway and Davidson back together again with 2.5 minutes to go and 2 laps.
Out over the line, Davison has got a chance for a podium here. It is indeed 2 laps, as you say, with 2.5 minutes to go. Oh, Edwards having a brief connection problem, but he's okay. Davison is going to wait. And now the game's begin as far as that is concerned, by the way, as well. You start to think not about how am I going to get past, but actually where do I want to be going on to the last lap because of the amount of slipstream around this circuit.
Yeah, but we've seen these games not work. We've seen these games not work. And it's a chance. You're kind of throwing your hat up in the air and hoping that it will stay in the same place in a tornado, because that's about as much chance as you've got of predicting where this is going to go now. So Davidson can either sit back and think, right, can I get him down into turn one, coming out of Casio on the final lap, which they will be on very shortly. That's the option. So that's right at the beginning of the final lap. But then he's got to hold it, coming out the hairpin all the way round to Spoon, and from Spoon all the way down into Casio. So Davidson's got to think, okay, can I then get him from Spoon to Casio and make it stick on this final lap? It's a coin toss, Ewan, on whether or not Davidson can make this work.
It is, really. Is he going to, and is he going to do it this time or not?
Oh,
there he goes, weaving around.
Fella's baiting. Yeah, Lovewaite's baiting him, sorry. To see if he was going to go then. That was almost a to me to you scenario.
It's a difficult one to call at the moment. With just under a minute to go, the white flag will be waving here for Vella as he goes over the line and looks to hang on for the win. That's a great livery, by the way, down at the bottom there. Here we go. Davison tries to go through.
Lifted.
Now he believes that going in first here onto this last lap is the way to be. Does he know? He backs out. It's all going to come down to the final chicane by the looks of things for the final podium spot.
No, he lifted. He didn't want it. Davison did not want that. He knew that he had the opportunity, and he knew that if Lovewaite was going to lift, which is what he did do, and he tried to bait him to come through. It was dangling the carrot and almost trying to feed the donkey, and Davison was like, I don't care, I'm not going. And he lifted off to make sure this stayed as it is. So now it's all about out of Spoon. That is where Davison's move's got to be. But he's got to get closer to him before he can get there, before they go on to that backstretch. Otherwise, it's going to be a no, it's not going to work. So he needs to be closer now. He needs to go through 200R close, go through Spoon close, and then go on the run down.
There you go. The time has now elapsed, and the last lap is indeed confirmed. Davison's not close enough here at all.
No.
And he's losing ever more time. It looks like Lovewaite is going to hang on for a podium here, and it is going to be Davison fourth. Let's see, but that looks like the way it's going to end here as Phil Vella makes his way now into the final couple of corners. It's the perfect start to the Player One Sim Gear Super Formula Lights Championship season for Phil Vella, who wins here at Suzuka in round one of the championship. Strategy won out in the end for him, and he wins by 2.7 seconds ahead of Dantes, who will be disappointed, I suppose, with second. Then Aidan Lovewaite, who will be delighted with third after qualifying down in ninth, just beating Danny Davidson to the line. Daniel Byrne and Robert Tilbury are fighting over the last top 10 spot here. Tilbury on the outside line into the chicane, and it doesn't look like he can quite get here. He's got the exit, but he's not going to have a run in towards turn one. He's only got the run to the line, and that's not enough. Here is Mitchell on the outside of Gowans, and he can't quite do it either. Chris Mitchell will be disappointed with 16th after the way he started this race, right up inside the top 5. And in the challenge class, Sam Katakazinos is going to make his way now out over the line, and he's going to win the first race of the season in the subcategory. It is Sam Katakazinos who wins in challenge.
Yeah, great run from Sam there. Tristan McLaren right through that pit stop at the beginning, but it still would be interesting to know why he had to make that pit stop, because that was kind of where it all threw it out on him, was right at the beginning when he did stop, and then he just went straight down the order. So, you know, it's, yeah, it'd be interesting to find out why he had that. I do wonder, because was it so early? Because it might have been so early on. Did he not change setups to have the right amount? I don't know. Interesting on that one.
Yep, it certainly is. But there you have it, the opening round of the season. And I believe we're still waiting for somebody to cross the line, are we? No, we're not actually.
No,
Everyone's
well
made it. By the way, all 33 drivers made it to the finish. So hats off to everybody for that, especially to Scott Botshine and also Benjamin Brook, who had long stops after pretty big damage in that race. Phil Vella, though, wins by 2.7 seconds ahead of the only non-Australian New Zealand driver, Flavio Dantes, in second. Aidan Lovewaite third, just hanging on from Danny Davison. Then Craig Edwards rounding out the top five. Geordie Slater was just behind him. Jack Mara got the overtake of the day and got seventh place as well. Jay Dixon, Chase Saxford and Daniel Byrne round out the top 10. Robert Tilbury just a tenth further behind. Tom Donoghue was just behind as well. The battle for 13th place between Sam Chapman and Scott Pocock as well. Douglas Gowans round out the top 15 ahead of Chris Mitchell. Then the challenger winner Sam Katakazinos ahead of Marcus Konitzer. At 19th place went to Tristan McLaren, ahead of Adrian Loretti, the final driver in the top 20. Final driver within a minute of the win was Andrew Johnston. Then the third place finishing Josh Marsh in challenge. Then it is Jake Robillard, who finished 23rd, just ahead, only just, of David Gallo and Jackson Jal. Greg Bradley just missed out on the top 25 with Brett Douglas in 27th. Chris Swadling finished 28th despite leading for some of the race in challenge. Then it was Mark Hilly and Jamie Skeller rounding out the top 30. Nathan Verney and Scott Bartain and Benjamin Brook were all one lap down at the end.
Yeah, they definitely were. Right, if RC are listening, then we get the top three in the pros. And Sam Katakazinos, please, the challenger winner there. So they are starting to come in to the booth. So we'll give them a minute as well. Yeah, woohoo, Sam, says Matthew Jarrah. Congratulations in YouTube chat there. So thank you so much for coming out. And you're free by the looks of it. The start, who you would like to talk to first?
We'll go from the winner, shall we? First of all, Phil Vella, who now joins us. Welcome, Phil. Congratulations on the win. Tell us about your strategy for that race, because that is the thing that seems to have gotten you the win. Tell us a little bit about what you were thinking through the first stint and then through your pit stop phase as well.
Yeah, g'day JP.
G'day, mate.
Look, Flavio is super quick, and I just thought, if I can hang in his draft for long enough, if I can fuel save a bit, I might extend a lap or two. And if I can save enough tyres, then I won't need to worry about that at the pit stop. I hadn't really practiced the pit, which was a mistake that I won't make again. But I seem to have found some time there. I found an extra lap, nearly 2 laps, but I didn't want to. I don't want to run the risk of getting halfway down pit lane and sputtering and losing some time or something like that. So I tried to come in. So I think I saved a bit of time on the fueling. Certainly saved time not taking tyres, and then I think I got the exit okay. But that was my main thing for the first kind of 40 minutes. Was just trying to hold on, to be honest.
You saved a second, by the way, in the pit stop, which is not the whole margin that you came out with, but certainly some of it. Were you surprised, knowing that, and you were sitting in the slipstream saving field, were you surprised that Flavio didn't at any stage try to almost let you through in some sense? And when you did once get through, once or twice, he overtook you again immediately. Were you a bit surprised about that?
No, not really. I think there is an advantage in being in front here. I think the amount of kind of aero what you get and pushing the front makes it a little bit difficult. And, you know, I found I had to be quite intentional about brake bias and the lines I was taking to try and mitigate that and just kind of coast and maybe lose a tenth or two in the corner, but find it again on the straight. So I wasn't too surprised by that. And he had immense pace out of the last chicane. I need to go watch that replay because I was struggling to catch him on that front straight, but he was cruising past me quite easily. So I don't know what he was doing to get out of there so quickly, but he was really nailing it.
Yeah, it was a very interesting battle indeed. Congratulations on the win, though. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, absolutely. Firstly, I'd like to thank the team I'm privileged to represent, Downforce Racing. I'd like to thank the folk that we kind of practice with every week, the folk from Androids, and having that Greg Bradley pressure behind you is really motivating to turn up some lap speed and some pace. Jay, as always, and the rest of the DFR crew, just for the support and making sure we can really get a bit faster every week. And my wife Monica, my kids Mary and Freya, for making the time and space for me to enjoy this hobby.
Well, congratulations on the win, Phil, and thanks for coming to chat to us as well.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
And you,
thanks very much.
Before we get the next one in, I need to make a quick announcement.
Okay.
There was, I've just been informed, literally just been informed, that the Sam Katkazinos was put into the sheet that I was sent incorrectly. So he was actually a pro, which does promote Tristan McLaren to the win of Challenger. So I do apologise. It's not something I was aware of, but it has just been said to me that Sam was actually a pro and not a Challenger. So Tristan McLaren is the winner in the Challenger class.
Okay, we'll chat to him in a moment. Meanwhile, Flavio Dantas has also joined us from second place. Welcome, Flavio. Congratulations on second place. Are you a little bit disappointed to miss out on the win, or are you pleased to finish second?
A bit disappointed with myself on the level that we are, like making mistakes, what I did at the end of the race. Yeah, it costs. So, yeah, but I'm so happy with P2 as well, beginning of the season. So, yeah, quite happy as well. That's it.
Yeah, well, you were battling with Phil for most of that race, but you decided to lead throughout most of the laps in the first stint. How did you decide that? Why did you decide to lead as many laps as possible?
I felt like great, and then we were swapping. I felt like he was making mistakes on the chicane. So I was like, okay, and then he was letting me by, but then I think he was saving a bit of fuel there as well. So yeah, next time I will be better with my strategies.
There's always next time, always next week as well. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
I would like to thank my brother, my twin brother, Felipe Fidentes, that he has been simulating and then always helping me out with the Formula cars. Chris and Chase, they are my teammates now. We were practicing and they are always pushing to the limit. That was great to see your two cars on top 3 beginning of the race on the qualify. So yeah, we are competitive and yeah, we would like to take the championship. So we're gonna be charging hard until the end. Let's go.
We look forward to seeing it. Flavio, congratulations on second place and thanks for chatting to us as well.
Thank you so much, guys, everyone. Thank you for the broadcasting this championship. And let's go for next week.
Thanks very much, Flavio Dantas there, the second place driver tonight at Suzuka. Let's now have a chat to Aidan Lithwaite, who finished in third. Welcome, Aidan. Congratulations on a podium. 6 places gained for you today, the second most gained, or third most, to say, in the top 10. A good sort of moving forward race for you. How did you find the overtaking and the moves around this circuit?
Yeah, really, really good. I think I definitely butchered qualifying a lot, that's for sure. I think I could have probably gotten another maybe 2, maybe 3 tenths out of the car in qualifying, but just, yeah, couldn't really put together in the end. But yeah, with the slipstream of these cars, obviously, it made it really, really easy to sort of get around people, if you're doing it in the correct spots, of course, 130R was a really good spot for me today for defending and both, attacking as well. But yeah, I think all in all, it was a great race, made a bunch of positions, and yeah, here we are.
What are you going to take forward into next week in terms of qualifying, maybe, and maybe racing as well? Because, as you say, we've got racing in the next 7 weeks, right the way to Zandvoort on the 11th of March. So what are you going to take from this race forward?
I think just trying to improve my one lap pace really is the major goal at this point. I think my race consistency is pretty good. I think the racecraft is pretty good. But yeah, I think just trying to improve on the qualifying pace really, because I think I might have been able to run with Flavio and Phil there in the end. But I was just, by the time those guys got away and I was through the other cars, it was just, they were too far gone. So I think that's a really crucial thing to sort of focus on, and hopefully I can nail it and get some better results in the future.
All right, we look forward to it for the rest of the season. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Just all the guys at the team, both to Mark as well and to Jackson, my teammates, for joining me on today's grid, and just our major sponsor Bowens as well.
We look forward to seeing you again next week. Congratulations on third, and thanks for chatting to us.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Aidan Lufwaite there, the third place driver. And finally, the Challenger winner, Tristan McLaren, joining us now as well. A bit of a back and forwards race for you, Tristan, I've got to say, today. You started at the front, then went back for a bit, and then came back to the front again in the final 5 minutes or so. First of all, tell us about the problem you had early on in the race before you run through the field.
I actually had no problem. I was behind Chapman at that point, and I thought that the ultimate way to play was to avoid the traffic at the back of the field and just do consistent laps and come back up.
Successfully in the end as well. What were those final few minutes like as you were chasing down some of those drivers? It was quite congested actually in your part of the field.
I was so stressful. I was sweating bricks. I was stressing every single corner. It's my first league win, and it means a lot, but oh my god, those laps just couldn't have ended sooner.
Well, congratulations.
Can I just interject? So you had no problem at all? You pitted on lap 1 early?
I think I pit lap 3. I just wanted to get out of the traffic. I was doing a 54, and I thought I can do a 50 in clean air, and just went, I can win this if I play this way. Avoid the carnage at the back of the field.
And then you got to the end on the fuel?
Yes.
No saving?
No saving at all.
Ooh, I do wonder how many people are going to adopt that going into that Red Bull ring.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, it seemed to work out. Yeah, sorry, I because you pitted so early, I just presumed you had a problem, but fair enough, and good strategy call in the end. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Of course. Scott Bartine, Everything Simulated Racing. He's helped me so much to get here. All the team sponsors, Shannon, Everything Simulated Racing, or Everything Simulated. Such a legend. Our sponsors, RSW Graphics, who make wonderful liveries. Not to mention Home Computing, who build amazing computers in the Gold Coast. And, of course, RKS, who made the gloves that got me to where I was. I would have let go of my wheel with the amount of sweat dripping off me otherwise. It's all thanks to all the blokes at Everything Simulated Racing. I wouldn't have got here otherwise.
Well, congratulations on that win in the class, and thanks for coming to chat to us as well.
Thank you, gents, for doing a wonderful job. You guys are great.
Thanks very much. Tristan McLaren there, the winner in the Challenger class here tonight at Suzuka. Well, that's the first round of the season in the Player One Super Formula Lights Championship. A good start to the season. Certainly a good strategy play from Phil Vella, getting him the win ahead of Flavio Dantas. And we're set up very well for the next 8 weeks of racing, starting next week at the Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, I do wonder, the fact that Tristan McLaren has shown that you can pit on lap 3, have enough fuel, I do wonder how many are going to start adopting that. I don't. The thing is, I was thinking here of the makeup of the Red Bull Ring is not very long. So is it going to really matter? But the longer tracks of Montreal could be one, the Spa could be one, Cota's then are going to be one as well. That could work quite well. I do wonder how many people are going to look at that and think, that might be a strategy going forward. But to be fair, if that's anything to go by for the rest of the season, well, we're in for some epic racing.
We certainly are. All 33 drivers who started as well, getting to the finish as well without causing any safety cars or anything. So congratulations to everybody on that front. That's a fantastic return. We will be back next week with the second round of the championship from the Red Bull Ring. We'll be here every week until the 11th of March, when we will have our season finale at Zandvoort, going across 3 continents across the world, and loads of different circuits or different types of circuit. Although I've got to say, high-speed slipstreaming is not going to be going away anytime soon. That is for sure. I've been Ewan alongside James Parfitt. We'll be back next week, as always, with the Red Bull Ring. Until then, it's goodbye for now.